Sorry guys, just finished some internal preparations because it's evening and my dogs wants to play with me. All right, if you don't mind, I think we can start. We have already 31 participants, even more than we had yesterday. So I hope primary audience is here. So I'm happy to see you all with us today. My name is Eugene. Eugen is Belarusian option of my name. Today we will talk primarily about front-end and JavaScript. What is it? How it works? Are you like a potential front-end or JavaScript developer? And the second part, we will have a talk about our Learning Scope School program here in Lithuania, how it works, why we can share our expertise with you, what kind of skills you will have at the end and why it's very important. And of course, as a third part, we will have JavaScript and front-end based quiz today with a prize as a GoPro camera. So I hope that you had a small chance to learn JavaScript a little bit last night, and you will be able to own it. Some of the answers for the quiz will be in the presentations themselves. So yeah, I also want to kindly ask you keep yourself muted until the Q&A session. Of course, we will have a Q&A after each presentation. Also, feel free to use our chat here to ask questions if you will have any during the presentation itself. Yeah, primary, I think that's all. So if you don't mind, we can start with the first presenter, who is Gerimantas, our colleague from our front-end and JavaScript department here in Lithuania, with his topic about front-end and JavaScript. Gerimantas, passing word to you.
Okay, so hello everyone, and thank you for joining us here today as we will try to find out what exactly is front-end development. Who am I shortly? Let me introduce myself. My name is Gerimantas Pukis, and I'm a senior software engineer at EPAM Systems, Lithuania. I have accumulated almost 5 years in the IT industry, dealing mainly with the front end of various applications. I also have experience in lecturing students on this field, and I will also be one of your mentors if you decide to enroll into the RS school program. But enough about me. Let us start by finding out what front-end development actually is. So in terms of web development, the front end is the visual representation of information on the web page. It translates the information received from the backend into a visually stunning but easy to use graphical interface for the user to see and interact with. Front-end and backend go hand in hand, and together they make up a nice interactive web page filled with dynamic content. The picture here perfectly illustrates the whole idea behind this. A lot of complex code on the backend stays hidden far away from the user, but the good-looking front-end part is what the users want to see. This has been true for a long time, when basically all of the operations were done on the backend, and the front end was just a few pretty blocks of text. But in today's reality, with the web growing at such enormous speeds, more and more responsibilities land on the shoulders of front-end developers. And nowadays, it's no longer enough to know basic HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. The web has moved way beyond that. A new framework comes out every 2 seconds. You've got a million of different devices and screen sizes to support. Not to mention, you technically still need to support Internet Explorer 11 in some cases, unfortunately. The app must also run at 60 frames per second, even on low-end devices. I think you get the idea. Front-end development is no longer about making a static landing page using WordPress, but making full-blown applications accessible via the web, with more and more logic handling going into the hands of front-end developers. I would say this picture reflects the situation more accurately for today's web. And if you decide to pursue the path of front-end developer, be prepared to learn every single day because it is hard work, but it's really rewarding. Now, there are two different approaches to the front end. One of them is the design approach, and people responsible for it are the graphical and user experience designers. Their job is to create a visual representation of how the application will look like, picking brand colors, typography, also thinking about little details like where to put some button or what text to place and where, making sure that the user experience when using the app will be perfect. And don't think that designers and UX engineers don't need to know at least the basics of web development, because they will have to communicate with the front-end developers who will be trying to achieve their vision. And having at least a basic understanding of terminology, how the web works and its limitations will surely help. The other approach is the functional one. It's what front-end developers do. They take the design and convert it into code. The code then reaches the user's browsers and gets converted into a functional web application. Now, front-end isn't for everyone. It's hard, detail-oriented work, giving you the responsibility to make sure that the user visiting your website does what you want him to do, instead of leaving frustrated and angry. I'm about to show you 6 websites that are live right now in 2021. So this is one, another one, and another one. So what do you feel after seeing these websites? If you thought angry, sad, confused, well, you're right. You think you can do better because this is what front-end developers do. And this will be your daily responsibility to produce websites that look like this. And I'm just showing you some simple representational websites. You need to think bigger. Think about entire apps built using web technologies. You'll be responsible about how they look, feel, and behave as the user clicks the various buttons there. Which brings us to our next topic. The technology you will most likely use on a daily basis will be JavaScript. JavaScript was developed in 1995 and was first used in the world's then most popular web browser, Netscape. JavaScript was developed mainly by Brendan Eich, and it took him a total of 10 days to build, 10 days. At first, it was a programming language created for the sole purpose of making websites interactive, since all of the websites at that time were just static documents. JavaScript is responsible for elements that the user can interact with, such as drop-down menus, modal windows, and contact forms. It is also used to create things like animations, video players, and interactive maps. Well, basically, it's what's powering every single website you visited in some way or another. It has no analogs for the web, and it's a powerful language to know because of its universality. With JavaScript, you will be able to make, of course, any app you can think of running in the web. But what if I told you you could also write backend code using the same JavaScript? You no longer need to learn a new language if you decide to learn backend engineering afterwards. You can also use JavaScript to make online games, native mobile apps, both for Android and iOS, of course. You can even get involved in some machine learning, not to mention using it for desktop applications as well. JavaScript has underwent huge changes since its initial release, and I will present you some examples of apps built with modern JavaScript. And we will start with EPAM's own tool. EPAM is a huge organization, and we have a lot of different processes and tools. For example, you must report your time spent on a daily basis, share feedback for your colleagues to help them grow professionally, and plan your time in between meetings. In 2020, we all had to learn what it means to work from home. The office was turned into a shared workspace. You have your favorite and the most comfortable workplace in EPAM office, but you have to make sure to have booked it, or it may already be occupied. But unfortunately, you are currently in the taxi on your way to work, so there's nothing you can do. And that nice place you've been thinking about will most likely be occupied already. Or imagine you want to have some coffee with your friends, but you don't know where the best discounts are. We have a lot of different portals for different situations that gather information about all of these tasks. And it's pretty painful to remember every single page for each different task, especially using your mobile device. Some pages are not adapted for the phone screen. Benefits map has Terrafull Touch event support. You get the idea. Now, how can we solve these problems here as front-end developers? Rewrite all the sites, create adaptive layouts? Yes, we could. But remember, JavaScript is everywhere. So we decided to create a mobile application based on JavaScript only. Full Android iOS support with installation from native stores. It basically solved all of our problems, and we didn't need to think about finding Swift or Java developers to make two different mobile apps. Let me show you briefly how it looks like, and you decide if you see any difference between a truly native app or not. So this is the time spent reporter screen, and let me tell you, it's a lot more comfortable to use than the previous web version. And this is the working place booking view. Previously, you had to use Outlook for this. It even features the office map, so you can click on the desired workplace if you don't know what you want exactly. One of the most important things in EPAM is feedback for your fellow colleagues. By using the new app, giving feedback is just a few clicks away, but the person receiving it will have the rest of the day feeling happy, or angry for that matter. Everything related to EPAM in one shared space, similar to a feed on your favorite social media site. And last but not least, a fully functional map of offers and deals around you. It really helps if you don't know where to go for lunch during your break or for finding previously unknown promotions happening near you. I don't think that you could tell that this app wasn't made with the default tools for that specific OS. What I mean is Swift or Java, but actually pure JavaScript. There are plenty of more examples of tools you're using every day that were written in JavaScript only. Visual Studio Code, which is one of the most popular IDEs around, was built using JavaScript. Also Slack, Skype, Discord, the list goes on. JavaScript is great because of its simplicity and universality. Once you learn it, you have a Swiss Army knife of programming languages, and you can use it to build anything you want without the language barrier. Although I'm not saying it is always the best choice to use JavaScript outside of web development, but I want you to be aware of the possibilities. And now, since we got familiar with JavaScript and its capabilities, let's talk why front-end is actually important for your users. Your users are seeking easy-to-use applications with modern and intuitive features, and that's where front-end comes in. One of the most important goals of a front-end developer is optimizing the performance of the web application. What I mean by that is slow web applications frustrate visitors into seeking alternatives, and pages with faster loading speed result in better visitor engagement, retention, and most importantly, boosting sales. Getting the message through. The website must reflect the real purpose of the business. The design and graphics should not confuse customers. Instead, the welcoming user experience should provide the reasons why the application exists. It is about creating pages to display relevant content that answers the visitor's questions. Regular update of the web page content will encourage visitors to bookmark your website and come back. The broad aim of enterprise business front-end design is to boost the attention levels in an ever-growing and complex marketplace. Visitor retention. Well-designed interfaces instill trust and confidence in your brand and help achieve your communication goals, leading to higher traffic and conversion. And sluggish websites with runtime errors, poor design, and graphics reduce the user interest, and further, users would be unlikely to return. Finally, let's talk about the benefits of working as a front-end developer. First of all, just like every IT position, front-end developers are in huge demand, and the tendency doesn't look like it's going to change for a while. So finding work as a junior front-end developer is not going to be too much trouble. Oh, and also, you can forget about applying to jobs anymore, because after you get your feet wet, recruiters will come to you. Now, secondly, you don't need to be a super technical to be a web developer. I believe that anyone can become an entry-level front-end engineer if they really wanted to. In fact, sometimes being non-technical can be positive in this industry, especially if you have a job where you need to have communication with clients. And what I mean by that is it's really helpful to have someone that can explain something semi-technical in plain English. Next, the job promotes actively improving your knowledge. Whether you like it or not, you will constantly be learning new things that come out, if you want to stay relevant in the job market, of course. And new things come out very frequently in the JavaScript ecosystem. Furthermore, front-end engineering offers great opportunities for fully remote work, not to mention the ability for you to be a freelancer and become your own boss. A lot of companies also offer flexible working hours, so that means that you don't have to sit in the office from 9 to 5. You get the freedom to plan your own time, as long as you get the job done. So this is really great for a good work-life balance and stress management. You might also think that coding all day is really boring. Well, being a front-end developer is much more creative and enjoyable than you might expect it to be. If you're working on a public product, you will get to see the real users and the impact your work gives to them. This, in my opinion, is the greatest perk of being a front-end developer. Imagine for a moment being a developer for an app that all of your friends are using. You get to see the impact on them once your code changes go live. And that is a great feeling, since you know that you're responsible for the changes and they're looking at you like you're some kind of god, you know? And to sum everything up, I would like to say that front-end developer is definitely not for everyone. This path is full of challenges, and you will need a lot of patience and the will to constantly improve to succeed. The front end is a wide discipline, and you can either become an expert in one specific area, or you get a little chunk of everything there is to know. This might be exciting and frustrating at once, depends on your perspective. And as the web progresses, the need for front-end developers is rising quickly. As you might have guessed, learning about so many things, especially when you are starting, is going to need time and effort and may even sound intimidating at first. But if you have the will and passion for technology and coding, then you won't regret stepping into this field. I hope I have successfully conveyed the message of what front-end development is. And if you're interested on building a better tomorrow for the web, I invite you to be the first ones to join our upcoming free front-end development course on RS Schools, starting from May 16th or later, depending on the amount of students. I'll leave the official Discord link in the chat for everyone interested or for everyone who has questions regarding the school. And also, just a side note, if you want to get started on your own and land a front-end job in quick time, you should know what the current requirements of the industry are. For example, nowadays, MERN or mean stack developers are in high demand, as a lot of websites are built using these. So you have to work hard as well as smart, and starting with these stacks would be a smart move. So this presentation is over. Thank you for your attention, and I hope you have some questions for me.
All right, feel free to unmute yourself and ask any related to what is front-end and JavaScript questions, or type them in the chats. As far as I can see, we have one question. Is trained automation testers required? Definitely, we need everyone. We will share the link to our website with open positions in the chart later, and you will be able to check. But still, I hope that you're interested to become a front-end developer more. So the question, how we can join Rolling Scope School, I will talk about it in my presentation. What do you mean saying, can you please share some of your created web pages or products? It's like a for agreements or in general. So basically, if you're talking about EPAM-based products, which were created by us, you can see it everywhere. So ordering Uber, taxi, or waiting for lunch somewhere and I don't know, checking some inbox messages or scrolling your news feeds, be sure that there is something what was developed by EPAM. And about online resources to study front end, I will share it as well, as a start point. for frontender at the end of my presentation.
Yeah, and be sure to apply to our school, and there's the best material you can have.
All right. Thank you very much for such great explanation who are front-end developers. And if you don't mind, I will steal your screen sharing.
Sure.
And I hope you can see it now. Yay. All right. Let's talk about, sorry. I already finished my coffee. So now I will drink water. Let's talk about who we are, why do we think that we can share our expertise, and let's find out what does it mean running Scope School and more details about it. But again, before it, who am I? So basically, I'm a front-end and JavaScript developer. I started my career many years ago. It was even before high school. I finished some C++ and later Java trainings. Had some chance to play with Photoshop and Illustrator in general with graphic. And I understand that just write a code, it's something which is not enough for me because I want to have more creative job and see results of my work much more faster. And Java and C++, it's primarily about the code, not about visual representation. It was this way for me many years ago. So yeah, I decided to try what is front end, what is JavaScript. Initially for me, it was pretty basic thing, just HTML and CSS, so some beautiful but not in the days web pages with some interactions there. Yeah, why not? So I even took my first freelance at the end of high school, what was very nice. I understood that a front end, it's not only pleasant, but a rewarding thing, definitely. And I decided to join web development specialty in Belarusian State University. But basically there was more math than JavaScript or front end. So I decided to, I finished university, but I decided to primarily choose my career not as a professor or something but to self-study programming languages. So I joined first EPAM front-end lab again many years ago. First part of the education were basically HTML and CSS. I was experienced enough to do almost nothing there, but after it was mandatory to complete some JavaScript tasks, and I learned JavaScript for 3 days and nights. So you heard that a JavaScript was created in 10 days, so it wasn't so complex, but still a lot of mess were in my head. So yeah, after it, I successfully joined EPAM, started my career there. I started as a student, as a junior developer, and at this moment, I'm working here as an engineering manager. I'm trying to build our practice, help others to grow. Basically, I think it's my favorite thing and my hobby to share the knowledges between others, because I don't know, I just like it. It motivates me to work with others. So that's a reason why, like, I was happy to join this Learning Scopes program, like from the very beginning, to help to start this educational program here. Yeah. All right. Let's talk about front-end and JavaScript at EPAM Lithuania. So we're very, very young here and potential, but as you can see, we're growing pretty fast. So like in February, there is like only 3%. In March, we expect, by the way, it will be more. 6 new people will join us, and in April we expect that like our front-end and JavaScript department will grow for 15 people or even more, I hope. Let's see. As a front-end and JavaScript practice, basically we are like really just a small part of global front-end and JavaScript competency, which is like basically you can find everywhere. So like from United States to Singapore, JavaScript is everywhere. We have more than 4,000 developers working on different kind of projects with different kinds of technologies. Probably, yeah, like the biggest delivery centers related to front-end and JavaScript are in Belarus and Ukraine. So we're working all together and sharing our information. The core of this organization is like a JavaScript competency center. Main idea is to collect all the information, all the like experience about front-end and JavaScript, which we have in production, which we have, I don't know, we have a lot of contributors to open source products here. So, and like all our colleagues brings us some new experience, like this front-end expertise, which we can share to like different projects, start some educational programs, or actually whatever. We have like really a bunch of educational programs based on real production experience. So like these guys who are the mentors there knows a lot of hidden stones and like potential issues which you can have during the development. So we're trying to be up to date with our learning courses and share it really globally. Also very important part of like such huge organization as front-end and JavaScript competency center is communities, because like we still we're like people who wants to communicate, to share their knowledge, discuss some of their opinions. So like we have a lot of communities based like on front-end and JavaScript interest. Like you can see some statistics, unfortunately, from 2019, because like the last year was like not the best year for events, but still, yeah. So I don't know, like here on the screen, you can see very nice community. I like it. It's called Beer.js, so Beer JavaScript. I participated on the events several times, and like idea were basically to drink some beer and talk about JavaScript, to discuss some new and up-to-date stuff, to share some opinions. So like a very, very nice thing. And who knows, I hope you will join us and we will be able to start such community here as well. And also very, I think, I'm not sure about the oldest one, but community which is very important in our working our life. It's Running Scopes Developers Community, basically which provide us with such ability to learn JavaScript and front ends for free. Cool. Let's talk about our Running Scope School. What is it? How it works? Why you must join us? And what will be at the end? So, like basically, as I said, this community have very, very like a deep rules. So it was founded. It was started in 2013. Main idea of this community, I think, to share the knowledges. Are you familiar with such things as community colleges in the United States? So here we have the same approach where already experienced people from like a real production who works with uh, all the frameworks, technologies can bring this knowledge to audience who wants to know it. Our community is have basically more than 15,000 people in Discord server. So we have different kind of discussions there. Or if you have, I don't know, any kind of questions, you need some assistance with your code or to choose your technology, so you can ask for help there without any issues. And we have basically more than 80 regular volunteers who is always ready to help you to answer on your questions. Yeah, so and we have such program called Running Scope School based on this community. So we have mentors from different companies and countries, mainly programmers. So we have a lot of volunteers who are ready to share their production knowledge. So some slides about statistics from 2020. Almost, so 11,000 people applied for JavaScript and front-end course last year. And as you can see, more than 1,000 successfully passed this course with help of 430 mentors, which guide them through all the tasks, share their feedback personally, and help with some tricky questions. And more than 120 people were hired by EPAM from this lab. Cool. Let's talk about Running Scopes Lithuania. I'm really happy to enroll this program here. As Gerimintas said, we will have our first lesson as minimum expected to have it almost on the next week. It will be 16th of March. And let me share some more information about the program itself. So the course will have 6 months duration. Basically, it will have 2 stages. The first one will be lectures and tests. Primary, we have no limitations for the audience, so we can take more than 200 mentees join our program. But the second stage will be a little bit more dedicated. Let me say, we will have not more than 35 mentees with personal mentoring. So after second stage, we will have a round of interviews uh, found, to find great talents who will join the mentoring program itself. For the program, we will have more than 10 plus cross-country mentors from different countries. At this moment, we have mentors from Lithuania, Belarus, and England. Who knows, probably someone else will join us, and we will have two coordinators who will help like to organize this process and ask only your questions if there will be any. By the way, Girimantas is not only like the mentor, but the coordinator of this program. So you know this person. Let's talk about technologies which you will learn during the program. So of course, you will learn basic stuff, which is like HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, plus some tools which will help you to work, which will help you to organize your code. But like a most focus, and exactly it will be like as a second stage, you will learn React framework and not just technology, which will like provide you vision also what is backend based on JavaScript, and you will be like ready to create some applications. These like technologies are really up to date and they have high demand. So it's something you definitely must learn, and we will be happy to share these knowledges with you. All right, let's talk about the benefits of RankScope School itself. At first, and probably most important thing is that this course is like absolutely for free. So we don't need any kind of obligations or contracts from you. Only one thing we need from your side, it's your dedication and your time to learn new materials and complete your homework. You will have like a lot of challenging and interesting tasks. We expect that like approximately to finish all your homework, you must spend from 10 to 20 hours per week. Still, some effort definitely must be spent there to learn something new. All the materials will be publicly available on YouTube and GitHub. So like if you will miss any kind of lecture, you will be able to watch the record without any issues. And as I mentioned, like you will have personal mentors from the second stage. Like generally about RankScope School, I can say that this program is always up to date because guys from production review the program every year. Of course, we will have online classes, so you don't need to like visit any kind of training center. Everything will be available online. At the end, we will provide you with employment opportunities. And of course, like as I mentioned, you will have different interviews. So we will help you to be prepared for real interviews, which you will definitely have in future. And we have no age limits or basically any other limits as well. So I have a lot of great stories of persons who was musician and become like a really great programmer. So everything is really depends on your interest and your time, of course. What is and the end of this program? So I choose probably three main statements, which I don't know, I think they are most important. So at the end of this program, you will be front-end developer with like a really high demand skill set. As you will learn JS, there will be like just several steps to become a full stack developer and like understand and be able to develop whole system from scratch. And best talents will be hired by EPAM. One more very important thing about the community and its main principle: pay the favor forward. So this community works by sharing expertise, and we expect that as soon as you will finish the program, you will be ready to share your expertise with other people who are interested to become front-end developers, and you will join to the next rounds as the mentor. So almost all the mentors who will be like on current run were like a student of Rolling Scope School as well. So it's a very important principle, and I hope you understand it. All right, to basically answer on question I promised, before you will start, please visit the link. There you will be able to find some basic stuff about computer science, HTML, CSS, JavaScript. Also, like you can find some useful materials just in internet by Googling. But I think starter package is there. And I really will be happy to see you on our Rolling Scopes School. You can use this link to pass through registration already. Any questions? I saw some activity and probably there are a lot of questions there. Let me find the chart. Probably I will pause. I will stop my screen share.
I have a question from Megidius. Looks like abandonment percentage is very high. Only 1 out of 10 completes the training. What is the main reason for that? And I think I can try to answer this one. It's because most of the students that join this course are close to newbies, so they don't have enough experience to pass all of the tasks. And only the people who pass all of the tasks with, well, not necessarily maximum grade, but we select only the best people from the first stage to the second, if I'm correct. Am I correct?
Yes, sorry, in parallel I'm reading questions. Thank you very much for your answer. Do you still ready something else?
Yeah. Luba asked the question, if I'm 0, is this course for me? You should definitely read the link Eugene showed you. I think Eugene, could you paste the link to the introduction? And also at
Agreementless, looks like we lost you. So like basically, as I mentioned, anyone can join the program without any issues, but it will be very important to like understand some basics. You still have some time to read it. Yeah, I will post the link a little bit later, but like still self-study is also very, very important stuff. As I mentioned, like I covered what is JavaScript and was able to use it in 3 days and nights. So like definitely you have some time to learn what is it. About the opportunity to finish the course sooner than 6 months, like basically we have 2 different rounds, like long and short term. But here for the first round, we will have only like a long-term educational course. So unfortunately, no chance to finish it sooner. Yep, like a GitHub link, I will post it. Very nice question. Is it possible to attend this and backend course? Like I'm not sure about the time of Java, like education, how it will be organized. Primary, I think you can make it, but probably it will be too complex, and still we will have as backend part on our run scope school Node.js, which is like basically backend. So you can think, is it something really required? Yeah, like to continue answering Dmitri's question, we will like provide all the materials step by step. And again, most important part there is the mentoring itself. So I really can recommend you to pass through the mentoring, because like always very nice to receive the feedback from experienced developers. So is like there enough to work with visual content when being a developer, not pure code? Like what do you mean? Primarily in front end, we have, let me say, three main like branches, primary skills. One is a front end. It's basically work with HTML and CSS primary to create some layouts, like to convert some beautiful designs to actually web pages. But still, you must know JavaScript to create some basic stuff and to make some interactions on your page. The second primary skill is JavaScript. So it's a person who works with JavaScript primary, of course. So it's about the coding, but still, as a JavaScript developer, you must know what is HTML, how it works. You must be able to create some basic templates. Probably, yeah, you like can yeah, maybe you don't know what is how to organize, I don't know, the process of CSS organization or something like, but like still you must know how to work with HTML and CSS. And the third primary skill which we have is Node.js. We still have some developers in JavaScript who really don't like these beautiful pages, and they just want to write like the JavaScript without any kind of visual representation. So like with this skill, you will be able to really don't see beautiful layouts, but write your code. But still, it's expected that you like will understand what is on front end side and will be able to like build correct relations there. I'm from Belarus. Is it possible to join our course? Basically, yeah. Like we have no restrictions. You can join this course, but like employment will be at the end. Before you must pass through this course.
Yeah, and Eugene, just to complete the question, I think that the current run is only for people who have a work permit here in Lithuania, the first run at least. So you will need to relocate at the least if you want to be hired. Of course, you can attend the course, but hiring this time, I think it's only for people with work permit.
In any case, I will be happy to like review all the cases personally. Probably we will see. In any case, yeah, like all great talents will be hired. I will try to make it. I hope I don't miss any questions, but still, like if you have something, feel free to raise your hand or even unmute yourself and ask. All right, questions 3, questions 2. Sold. Cool. All right, I think we can move to our third part of this event, which is basically a quiz.